Okay, check out the price of Bitcoin right now. Also, Ethereum, some of the other cryptocurrencies this morning taking a bit of a hit. Let's talk about what's actually going on here. Bitcoin now at 112,000, close to 113,000. Joining us with more on this and also some other news. Anthony Scaramucci, founder and managing partner of SkyBridge Capital. As of today, he's also the new lead advisor of AVAX One. That's a company aiming to maximize ownership of AVAX, which is a native token of Avalanche, just to confuse you a little more, the blockchain used by BlackRock and Visa. AVAX will be a NASDAQ listed, since it is the new name. Again, lots of different pieces to this for AgriForce Growing Systems. Is that?
I mean, you've read that well.
Is that complicated for people to understand?
Well, it's complicated. To make it simpler, there's a couple of very good layer one technologies like Solana, Ethereum, and Avalanche that we believe are going to be the future of tokenization. And so we made a big bet on this alongside of HiveMind and the Avalanche Foundation. And we're going to have a digital asset treasury for Avalanche. It's a smaller token in terms of market cap relative to the bigger ones. But lots of big corporate CTOs, Andrew, are picking up Avalanche as part of their story to tokenize their funds or potentially even tokenize their stocks.
We just talked about BlackRock and Visa as examples of that.
JP Morgan.
And are they using that instead of Solana or Ethereum?
No, I think we believe in a multi-chain world, but I think they have something called subnets so that you can do some customization on the chain through the contract layering on the token. So it allows for people to sort of have their own digital fingerprint. I often say that Avalanche is like a Swiss Army knife of layer one, so it's got a lot of flexibility. So, well, listen, we like the other tokens as well. Right. I'm good friends with Dan and obviously great friends with Kyle.
What do you make of what's happening right now with crypto prices? As I said, they've fallen a bit, but see, they were on a run also.
Yeah, listen, September's typically the worst month for the cryptocurrency businesses. Some of it has to do with tax selling. Some of it has to do with a big run-up that's taken place in the last couple of months, Andrew. But I think long-term, SkyBridge is still maintaining his $150,000 price target for Bitcoin by year end. I think it's just a function of the way things get bought in the industry. So you'll see November into December, I think, being good buying periods, and still a tremendous amount of demand for the assets.
What can you explain what's happening right now? Is there something that's actually happening?
No, I mean, you mean because we've got a 3 or 4% drop in the yeah. No, I mean, listen, it's just typical volatility. I think we've had a big run up. There's been a lot of positive announcements, and I think we're just churning a little bit. But again, there's been seasonality. If you look at the 15 years since the inception of Bitcoin, there's been September lows typically, so this is very consistent with that.
What would shake your faith? I mean, what's possible? 90's possible, I'm sure. I'm sure 80's. I'm sure 75's possible.
If you had your faith shaken, it would like domino into me, Joe. But I think it'd be very hard at this point to have my faith 100? Shaken. I mean, you say again?
You could easily go below 100 again.
I think it could go below 100, but I think it could also get to 150 fairly quickly. I'm not. Remember, you guys were kind enough to bring me on the show in October of 2020, where we made our first Bitcoin investment, and it was around 20,000. Yeah. And people lambasted us and said that it was internet magic money, and that we were not doing a service to our clients. So we went from 120 to 112 in 5 years, but we saw a lot of oscillation, a lot of volatility. I don't think the volatility is out of Bitcoin or other crypto assets, but what I do think is that there's way more demand. If you just look at the buying of the ETFs, you look at the digital asset treasuries, et cetera, I think you're going to have a big proliferation, and I think you're going to extend the cycle for Bitcoin very differently than we've had in the last several cycles.
Trump administration's role in that.
Well, I want to add, that's what I was going to say. Let's merge all of your varied and sundry interests. Yeah. There's a gold rush in crypto, but part of that gold rush is being I mean, you are seeing the president and his family as part of that gold rush. We had Eric Trump, the president's son, on, who has our birthday.
Yeah,
he has our birthday.
We have to thank the president for making our birthday famous.
January 6th. And Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead.
And Henry Kravis.
And Henry Kravis. Yeah. All those people have January 6th. But, and I asked him at the time, emoluments, perception, I would like to be able to, if I knew what I was doing, to start a great crypto company, because I think there's so much potential. Should the president's family be precluded from doing that? Should he be precluded from getting involved?
I think the president is different. I think the family should not be precluded, if you're asking me my honest opinion.
Yeah,
I don't think that people, as a libertarian, I don't think people in business, because their dad is a political official, should be precluded from doing business. Eric was with you last week, but I was with Eric on Monday night prior to him being here.
I want to be a fly on that wall. Listen, you guys are buddies?
Yeah, a little huggy action.
Was there huggy action?
Come on, I like Eric. I get along with Eric. And my son made a big investment in American Bitcoin, raised a lot of money for them. Eric came to the Wyoming conference.
So made an investment in American Bitcoin?
American Bitcoin. And Eric came to our conference with Paul Atkins, Chris Waller, Mickey was there, two of the four the Federal Reserve governors. So to me, there's a red party, there's a blue party, there's also an orange party. And I think we can find a lot of commonality in the orange party.
And not about carbon, about money.
The Green Party, yeah. Well, you and I are members of the Green Party.
Let me ask you, just broadly speaking, the perception issue, how you think that the American public should think about, for example, like the UAE deal that people talk about, that where there was also a crypto deal that ultimately will benefit them. And what you think the public is supposed to think about that.
If you look at each thing, American Bitcoin is a legitimate company, spin-off of Hut 8. They've got a lot of great infrastructure, and they're building a fantastic business. If Eric and Don are part of that business, I don't think they should be blocked from being part of that business. If you're saying that there was something nefarious,
I don't know.
I don't know that either. I think with the president, it's different. I think the president should, in my opinion, just focus on being president. If his family wants to do things in business, they should be allowed to. I think where you get the cross current, is the president's involved in the meme coin, the president's selling watches and sneakers and things like that. I think that is probably where the perception problem is. I would just say to the president, you're the president. Go be the president and don't focus on that other stuff. It'll take pressure off of your family members if you do that. So.
Let me ask you.
But don't go by me, Eric. I like Eric. I like Don. I've always gotten along with them. I think they have the opportunity to do these businesses, Andrew, and I think they should have the right to do these businesses.
The other thing that's come up even recently as we're looking at this TikTok deal, for example, is just the idea that the U.S. government effectively gets to choose, and this administration's choosing who effectively will ultimately own that asset. This gets to this, the critics will say that this is like oligarchy, like the president gets to choose the sort of winners and losers in that. And what are we supposed to think about that?
Okay, well,
I'm not saying it's the case. I'm just saying
we should first of all stop it on both sides, because I do remember during the Obama administration there was some solar company, can't remember.
Solyndra.
Right. They made a large investment in that. They were picking and choosing winners too. I think the government should be out of the picking of winners and losers businesses, and I think it's very dangerous for them to do that. I think you have to remember we got here for a reason. We got here because we had a decentralized government and a great American capitalist system. I don't think either side should be picking winners and losers.
What about when you see a financial crisis, like the great financial crisis? Did you believe the government should step in at that point? Because that was also a story where they got accused of picking winners and losers, letting some banks go others, saving car companies.
I think in hindsight, Becky, I think they even acknowledged they made mistakes. They started the Tea Party movement, which ended up into Occupy Wall Street. Had they had a chance to do it over again, my guess is they would have given more to smaller businesses, people on the street to help them with their mortgages, help them with their rent. I think that the expedition of that policy probably caused some mistakes to be made, which has led to a systemic rise of populism. So, yes, I take your point. Listen, George W. Bush himself said, I've been a conservative my whole life. Hank Paulson walks in the room and tells me we're going to lose the whole bit. And Andrew wrote a great book about this, right? And so they made a decision to go to the left, and maybe they didn't handle it perfectly, but at least we saved the system.
Some Republicans voted for the CHIPS Act. It was bipartisan.
From the defense perspective, national
defense. That's the question. Is we can't make pharmaceutical precursors here. Is that so important?
I always try to call balls and strikes with the president.
Should we be doing things to bring chips back here?
We have to. I think there's no question about that.
Would you take a stake in Intel?
Should the government take a stake in Intel? Okay, so now we're threading again because Intel was given $10 billion by the prior administration.
I'd rather have the stake.
So the question
Right.
is, when Barack Obama did that with General Motors, the country did have a stake in General Motors prior to devolving the stake. So again, we have to look at both sides and examine it.
You don't just dismiss it out of hand as being bad.
No, I think in general, I want the government out of the capitalist system. But when you have problems like General Motors or you have a crisis where we're not making enough chips in the country.
What about bringing stuff back here and greasing the skids for that? That's
I think it's very important.
That's crony capitalism.
You could set it up with enterprise zones, Joe. You could have a Jack Kemp enterprise zone and say we're going to give you a tax abatement for 10, 15, 20 years to build the factory to get you back in the United States. I think we all agree, and Joe, you and I were young at this time, but do you remember the 1999 World Trade Organization protests? I don't know if you remember those in Seattle, but
I remember Ron and Son was out there getting.
Yeah, but a lot of labor people did not want them to bring China into the WTO that way.
Real quick.
They were right, Joe. We were wrong on Wall Street.
Jimmy Kimmel, Brendan Carr, he'd like to see him canceled.
Right.
Some people.
I told you last week I didn't want to see him. I told you I wanted. I thought
you want him canceled.
No, I wanted him to die on the vine like he was. I don't want.
And the question is whether you think that Brendan Carr is doing the right thing or the wrong thing. There's the Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz view of the world that this has gone too far.
Right.
There's a lot of Democrats who think it's gone too far. And then there's others who think that this is just right.
Well, listen, I believe in free speech. I've been attacked by Jimmy Kimmel. I've been attacked by Saturday Night Live. I have absolutely no problem with it. I don't understand the sensitivity of being attacked because Jimmy, to me, and I know him personally, I like him. I'd like to see him back on the air. It's a corporate decision, though. I don't like Brendan Carr or the government overly influencing that corporate decision. So if you're saying to me, Bob Iger is the boss and he wants to let go Jimmy Kimmel, that's great. But if you're saying to me, Bob Iger's in a boardroom saying, hey, I'm getting tremendous heat from the government, I got to let Jimmy Kimmel go. I think that's wrong, Andrew.
What if he was in a boardroom and the affiliates were going absolutely...
Yes, but if the affiliates...
Not because of what you say, but because of their clientele.
Well, then it's a business decision.
So how do we say how do we know it's not?
Well, because of the way the rhetoric coming from Brendan Carr and from the president is scary, intimidating rhetoric, and it's unnecessary.
It could have happened anyway. That's what I wish would have
Exactly.
Because I keep saying it. I think Iger's like, thank you, Brendan Carr.
Look, I am a free speech person, Joe. You know, you can say whatever you want about me, and I'll still love you. No problem. And you have said anything you want about me, and I still love you.
You're invincible.
Anthony Scaramucci, thank you, sir.
It's good to be here.
Breaking news: Oracle is promoting